On this episode of Home Dad Chat,
but they had so many explosions. I mean, I was sitting in the car. I had to go take a call, basically. So had to go sit in the car, and we've got a dash cam, so it's front and back, right? And I would see in the camera the front ones go off, and it lights up the yard in front of me, and then lights up the yard behind me, and then it silhouettes the house. And I'm like, this is like a nuclear bomb going off. This is that whole flash fry. I mean, this is what I'm seeing happen right now, and it was
mm,
amazing. It was amazing. It was a fantastic show, and I'm glad that we went and it was a great time. I'm also kind of glad that we're past it in a way because like you said, that's a pivotal moment in your summer. You know,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
big thing and you go from, thing to thing. And I'm not glad it's done. I'm really not ready for my kids to go back to school. I'm really just joking about that, but I'm glad that we're pushing.
Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you've had a great week, especially weekend. My goodness.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a holiday weekend there, 4th of July, lots of things going on, lots of weather causing issues for 4th of July fireworks shows. Kind of no matter where you were, almost it seemed
Yeah. I
everybody was
think
getting a little bit of
uh,
it.
right across the board. And it was either really hot, which is fine. I mean, it's summer. We're getting used
Sure,
to
it's
really
July
hot,
4th. Yeah.
but it was the rain everywhere. And I mean, it
Yep.
just came tearing across Wisconsin.
I
I don't know
know.
what, everywhere else, but it was just, I was expecting a tornado siren at some point. We didn't get one, but yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah. I saw where the Cardinals and the Cubs were playing up at Wrigley Field in the London fog. It was so thick up there that video footage shows the infield. The Cardinals are out there and literally they were reading their lips and they were like, "What are we doing out here? We can't even see the ball." Like, and then they panned out and you could barely see the batter and the pitcher. And then they showed the outfield and you couldn't see anybody in the outfield. And I'm just like, what are you doing? So yeah, it was nuts. I watched a fireworks show that should have started a half hour earlier than it did and ended up watching it while it rained and lightninged around us.
Oof.
It was crazy.
Well, I will say kudos to our little town. Stevens Point to me continues to impress me with the things that they do because a lot of people, and I thought I was better, but I'm actually still affected by fireworks, by the sounds and the pops. I mean, I thought I was good and I've been really good about my anxiety and everything recently, but they had somebody like we parked at my brother's house, somebody across the street started popping something off in the driveway and I got bad anxious. I mean, oh, wait, where's that, where's that sound? And I don't know why, because I knew it was coming and everything else. But anyway, so fireworks affect a lot of people, and
They
fireworks
do.
affect a lot of animals, of course. A lot of people have much more sympathy for animals. So let's just put that out there then, and maybe that'll help. But our town had the fireworks show on the 5th, right?
Oh,
But on the 4th, they had a drone show
oh,
and
cool.
it was spectacular. It was amazing. I mean, especially for our little town. I mean, I would say if it was in Cincinnati, maybe it wouldn't have been as impressive, but it was still amazing. And it was
Yeah.
quiet. They had music playing, but there weren't all the big pops and everything. And it was still very patriotic, still, focusing on some of the same things, but instead of using fireworks. And I in no way want to get rid of fireworks. Okay. I'm not saying that at all. I think we should have them all the time. I wish we were safe enough in this country that we could have fireworks at every holiday. I really do. I just feel, fire, like, especially, New Year's Eve is obvious, but I don't know, just anything really. Maybe it isn't appropriate for Thanksgiving and Halloween, but I still think it'd be fun, right? But the event change from the fireworks to the drone show, and again, we had both. So, but the
Yeah.
drone show was just so much more, I don't know, I don't know how to put it. It was more enriching almost. It was just like this
Yeah,
is an
well, they can.
experience that's completely different, and new.
Yeah, it's really neat because like I've been to quite a few drone shows, and it's like you go to fireworks show and it's pretty obvious. Like they go up, they blow up. There might be some shapes or colors to them, but that's about as far as it goes. With a drone
Yeah.
show, though, it's while one thing is being formed, they're moving around in such a way that the next thing, like they light up again, and there's a completely different figure up there or
Right.
whatever, and you're just like, "What? This is crazy!" And it just an amazing amount of coding that goes into to
Yeah.
building that. So, yeah, it is very intriguing, and it's got its own artful sense to it for
It
sure.
really does. And like the first one I ever saw it was a video. I didn't see it in person, but it was I don't remember what building, but I think it was in Las Vegas and the USS Enterprise from Star Trek, which huge fan of Star Trek and Star Wars, Star Trek. And it came up over the building. And it was just the outline. Of course, it was the drone lights making it, but it was incredible because it was
Yeah,
huge. I mean, it was huge. And it looked like the ship itself, it was scaled down, but the ship itself was coming towards, across the building and towards you. And it was mind blowing. And like you said, you can't have that same effect really with fireworks. And the fact that the drone show is pretty much quiet, unless they're
yeah,
playing music or something, you're not going to hear the drones from that distance. And it was just like, I want Jaws, honestly.
yeah. That would be pretty
I want the
cool.
bump. What's going bump, and then it just cruises past. What's that? You know.
That would be
But
pretty
yeah,
cool, definitely.
it's something that I really hope that more shows start doing more with. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity to just really show the artistic side of it. All the
Yeah,
cool
they
things
can
that
do
drones
some.
can do.
There's some really neat things that you can do with drone shows for sure. So they're always interesting. I thought it was cool too. There were just a lot of really. It just seemed like everybody went big. It was like, all right, we're blowing our budget to put these fireworks shows on.
250, baby.
And so that was pretty cool. I went home to northern Indiana to see my
Oh,
family,
cool.
especially my grandmother who turned 86. And so it was interesting going home. It was a great time getting to see everybody. I got to see my brother and my sister and their kids, and I got to hang out at the lake that my brother camps at. What was really neat too was so, we have that stuff around here, but we don't typically get to it just because there's so many other things going on.
Right.
And the kids love to swim, and they're not like they didn't go through classes or anything like that, but they can swim. They're actually just sort of like natural swimmers, which is really cool.
Nice.
And immediately like Hezekiah heads out for the big dock where like all the kids are at, all the big kids and everybody's at. And he goes off of the first lower diving board. And I'm like, whoa, all right, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And his cousin and cousin's buddies out there too. So like he goes off of that and then he goes off the slide. And then there's like a higher diving board. And I'm like, no way is this kid gonna do this. And sure enough, he gets up there and he jumps right off. He like looks back at us and he's like, yeah, Mama, Papa, like over everybody. We're like, all
Yeah.
right, we're like, we see you, dude. And he jumps off. He's like, cannonball.
Awesome.
It was fantastic. I was like, all right, this is great. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had fun with that, and they put on a huge fireworks show up there as well. But I saw where here in town in Cincinnati, so there were official fireworks shows in some different areas, but the one thing that was cool was there's this area called Mount Adams. It's a historical area, and if you sit on it, if you sit at it, it's this really cool place where you have a panoramic view of both Cincinnati and northern Kentucky. And so northern Kentucky kind of rises up because you get into the foothills or whatever. But the video shown it just as soon as it was dark 30, everything started firing off. And if you were sitting up there, you had this massive panoramic view. I'm talking like easily 20 miles of because of just the way it was. There's this fireworks going off the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that'd have been cool to have just sat there. Because the thing with those is that you didn't really hear them because they're so far away. You just got to see them, go up and do their thing. So, yeah, it's a neat area to watch fireworks when they're up in that kind of spectators thing. So, yeah, it was fun.
Sweet.
But
That's very cool.
yeah, so it was a good time. I had a great time with family. I will say, when you get around family, all bets are off on what's going to happen, And my dad and I tend to get into conversations that can get slightly heated. But I will say that the one nice thing about the fact is that I have learned to not back down from that and
Yeah.
really feel confident in basically being like, asking questions versus just, well, that's stupid, or that doesn't, why would you think that? And being
Yeah.
more like, I'm more of a, where did you come up with that from?
Mhm.
Or, you know, tell me why you think that is only one side is at fault type of
Yeah.
deal. Like,
Yeah.
just trying to be very, I guess, bipartisan, like both, that whole like, typically it's not just one person's situation, like,
Well,
both sides a
and
lot of
and
times,
being
so it makes it
curious,
interesting.
where
Yeah,
did you hear that? Where did you learn that? Where are you getting information? And not doing it yeah, what's your source? Not like that kind of garbage, but basically,
yeah,
why do you think that way really? Why is this something that you believe that I feel is completely wrong? And being able to, with your parents, especially, I think for a lot of us with our dads,
yeah,
because I hope, that I know it's not true for everybody, but you have a father that you do respect, that you do admire, that you do love, right? And they say something that is just completely, 180 degrees from your beliefs or what you think or what you've seen. And as we get older, it is harder for us to change our minds. It's harder
oh,
for us to accept the new information that comes in or that the world has just changed. We're not living in the same world as we did, 50 years ago. But
yeah,
being able to, I don't want to say stand up like you're having to make a stand against it, but to be able to be there with your dad and say, Dad, I understand you feel this way. Why? Where do you get this? I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to try to get mad at you. I'm not being emotional. I
yeah,
just want to know where you got this information because it doesn't fit with anything that I've, read or watched or whatever. I think that's great. I really
yeah,
do because I feel like it's a step in your maturity as you go through life. I mean, in a lot of ways, you're supposed to supplant your father. I mean, in a lot of ways, you're
yeah,
supposed to take that, patriarch or whatever of the family type, position. Not saying that your dad needs to step back or get out of the way or anything like that, but you to
no,
become, you're now the dad, you
yeah,
know, and
exactly.
that's
Well,
sobering to me. Wait, that's me now. Oh, crap. I don't want to be an adult. What the heck?
well,
But yeah.
and if you look back at it too, I mean, the separation of generation wise, there was no way ever that my father's dad or my dad were people who would be like sitting down and having a conversation that would be like what we had that night, this past
Right.
weekend, because
Right.
that's it's such a faux pas. My views are my views. Either you agree or you disagree, but either way, if you agree, great, we can talk and we can basically just have a conversation. But if you disagree, just drink your beer and shut up. Like,
Right.
kind of thing. And it was very interesting because my mom was sitting in the living room. It was late at night too, but it all kind of, so I was pointing out some different things because growing up in my hometown, it was very dominant white, with a very small mixture of diversity of other country culture, that kind of thing. And now you go to fireworks show and it's like you have a lot of Latin American folks walking around, a lot of Filipino,
Mhm.
just different, all kinds of stuff. My dad was pointing out the fact that there seems to be a high population of Filipino women that have moved into our town, mainly because most of them have found older men who are lonely and looking for somebody to be with after their first wife or whatever passed away or
Mhm.
something along those lines. And I'm like, great, they found somebody. That's awesome. They're here legally. Everything's good. I don't, and that started a whole conversation
Oh God,
about
I
things,
bet.
of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it was funny because that conversation then spilled into talking about the birthright citizenship. So something that was a
Mm.
hot button topic, and
Yeah.
just having a conversation with him about that. And for me, it's a way to kind of gauge, like, all right, like I'm always interested. where's your mind at, especially as an older person, he's getting up
Hmm.
there in his 60s, and so like in his late 60s. So you're like, all right, where are we at in this? And that's my way of kind of being able to sort of see, are we getting into the crazy senile, or are we into actual, this is how I feel because this is how I've always grown up, which is a lot of it for him. And I've experienced that with my grandparents too. So it wasn't too shocking. But one of the things he kept talking about was how he had this great fear of kind of things coming up and culture changing so much that it was going to affect his grandchildren in a way that it was very extreme thinking. And I don't want to open the can of worms on it too much, but basically, so I'm kind of being very vague about the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was, to me, I was just like, why? I kept saying, why do you think that? Where are you seeing that being an issue? And he kept pointing out, he's just, well, certain people are getting into office and it's just they have a different mindset than, the American ideal, like that kind of thing. And I said, the one thing I did say to him, I said, I get it. Yes, there are groups of people who are starting to become into a political power situation where they're taking up different reigns, which is an American thing in its own. I mean, and I said the same thing could be said for German citizens that came into this country. If they wanted to, they could have brought everything that happened during World War II over and started changing America to be like that. I go, but it didn't happen, did it? Because they saw what this country is and how it's different than their country, and they're not looking to bring all that in. And so he was just like, well, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this.
Well, and I think as a person of that age, and I'm not quite as old as your
You're not
dad,
quite there, but yes, I know
but
you're in
as a
between.
person there, a lot of my friends, especially that are a couple years older than me, are running into that. They're running aground mentally. That's what I think it is. They reach a point where they're just not willing or able to really accept that I'm right. Okay, that's just how it is. But no, but with your dad being able to look at it and accept that, yeah, okay, that makes sense. What you're saying is, yeah, and maybe I'm wrong. That's hard for people. I mean, that's hard for anybody, really. I mean, even young people have a problem saying maybe I'm wrong, but reaching a point in your status as the patriarch again of the family and being able to look at someone who has always been, and this is not negative, but has always been a child to you, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and being
Well,
able
and
to
he's always,
look at your child and say, huh, they're right and I'm wrong. Or they brought up stuff that I never thought of. Or why is my kid teaching me? Those are all things that you kind of, not everybody, but you kind of push against. You're like, well, no, you're my kid. You need to sit down and shut up and listen to me. And that's not how kids work. I mean, even especially as we're in our 40s and 50s. Sorry, I,
right.
I got an opinion. So, but I think that's cool that you had that conversation,
Well,
you
and at
know?
one point in my head, I was like trying to, Dad, you brought us up to be critical thinkers and not follow the crowd without thinking about, like, why are we walking this way? Why are we doing these things, kind of thing. Like, and so it was just, yeah, it was a very interesting conversation. And it was so funny too, because my mom, for all intents and purposes, I think she took more my side than she took dad's side. But she's also very, I can say this in this step because this seems safe. But if it was just the two of us, there's no way I'm saying anything about
Yeah.
it, kind of deal. So, yeah, and this was, like I said, this was a late night conversation. So, also, too, that was the other part. I'm like, I'm not going to push this too far because it's late and I don't want to I didn't want to upset him too much. I don't even remember exactly how the conversation got started. It was a good conversation, though, but you could tell he definitely just he held on to certain things, and I just was just like, that's okay, I hear you, but you need to tell me more about why it is that you're doing, like, why it is you're in this place, because it's more of a situation for me is I've always watched this man grow up and advocate for lots of different people over the
Hmm.
years, especially people with mental, physical disabilities. He'd done a lot with Special Olympics and stuff like that. And I mean, even that demographic of people have gone through a lot to,
Yeah.
and are, had to fight through so much to get to where they are now. And it's just, yes, I get it. They're like born American citizen type thing, but it's okay. Like, there's more to it than that kind of. And so having those kind of conversations was good. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time to be home. It was great. My grandmother, who's 86, she's still got a very sharp mind. Her body is what is deteriorating more than anything. So it was a little hard
Mm.
to see
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Corey took it a lot harder than me, like, getting to spend time with her. And so, like, when we were leaving and saying our goodbyes, we were walking out, and I had the kids, and she stopped Corey and asked her for one more hug. And Corey's walking out, she's bawling.
Hmm.
And she's just like, she asked for one more hug, and it just did me in.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. So,
Yeah. Especially when they say one last hug. Give me one last.
oh,
No, don't say last. Okay. I have to believe that I will be back here. I will see you again. There will be more
right.
hugs. Come on. Come on, Grandma.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, it was good. So I always consider too July 4th the end of the first half of the summer, even though the summer is officially started just a couple weeks before. But
Yeah.
like when school gets out for us, it's like, all right, now we're into the second half of the summer. All right, so what does that look like? Because at this point, it's sort of a situation. It's like, all right, I've only got maybe a month before school starts back up again, and we need to get school stuff around
Right.
and
I
prepping for
saw a
home.
school supplies commercial and I'm
I'm
like,
sure I'm sure that stuff's
I,
in the stores right now.
I want this to happen because I'll admit I am ready for my kids to go back to school. No, I'm
Me
not.
too.
I'm not.
I
But
am.
but at least a day of the week, at least one or two, But my kids have had a great summer, but I don't know, we've just kind of picked the things that everybody happened to want to do.
Yeah.
So it's been good, but yeah, there's a lot going on. And again,
Mhm.
teachers, all teachers, I love you. I appreciate the job you do. I don't know how you do it. I love my children. I don't want to be around them 24/7. I'd like to have a little privacy. At least I can go to the bathroom by myself. They're grossed out now. They're not young enough where they don't care and break into the bathroom anymore. But other than that, I really don't have a lot of space here. So
Well, and I hope
it'd be
teachers got a
nice.
chance to get out and actually get a
God, I
vacation
hope so.
and
Yeah.
get that recharge that they so deserve. So,
Right.
yeah, definitely.
People
Uh,
complaining about teachers. Oh, they make too much money. They only work this many days a year. And I'm like, you do it, you moron. Because one, they're working all day. I
yeah.
mean, they're
I don't know if
working
too
at
much
home.
money is
They're,
too much.
that is not the, no.
Not even
Mm-mm,
close. No,
mm-mm.
definitely not.
You
So,
couldn't pay me. You couldn't pay me twice what they make to work their hours, to do their job. It's not,
yeah.
uh, it's a passion thing. You got to do it out of heart. But anyway, that's kind of neither here nor there. But I'm ready. I'm ready to do a lot more summer stuff personally. We had a great time watching the fireworks. The kids were
Hmm.
very impressed. They had an extra, they had a large donation from someone to put more fireworks in the air, basically. And they really did. So there was that, and the kids loved it. What was really cool is one of my daughters said, "Dad, I finally get what they mean when speed of sound." And I went, "Okay, what?" And she's, "Well, it would pop and I'd see the light and then the sound would hit me a second later." And I went, "Yeah." And she goes, "And that's the same way as lightning and thunder and why we count and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, now it's all coming together. That's perfect. To see the science in it." But they had so many explosions. I mean, I was sitting in the car. I had to go take a call, basically. So I had to go sit in the car, and we've got a dash cam, so it's front and back, right? And I would see in the camera the front ones go off, and it lights up the yard in front of me, and then lights up the yard behind me, and then it silhouettes the house. And I'm like, this is like a nuclear bomb going off. This is that whole flash fry. I mean, this is what I'm seeing happen right now, and it was
Mm,
amazing. It was amazing. It was a fantastic show, and I'm glad that we went and it was a great time. I'm also kind of glad that we're past it in a way because like you said, that's a pivotal moment in your summer.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big thing and you go from, thing to thing. And I'm not glad it's done. I'm really not ready for my kids to go back to school. I'm really just joking about that. But I'm glad that we're pushing those points, you know. Oh, it's a
Hmm.
mile marker. It's July 4th. Okay, we got that done. We did great. Everything's good. Everybody's got all 10 fingers. Let's go to the next one, right? I like it. I'm glad that
Yeah.
it moved on. It moved through it.
Yeah. So, like I said, countdown for things coming up. I mean, big thing, of course, like I said, is school starting up very soon. So lots of going through and figuring out what your kid needs clothes wise and everything.
Hmm.
We're trying to plan out a yard sale. So that's its own monster.
Yeah.
And trying to see what other families in the neighborhood want to be a part of that. So we'll see how that all pans out.
They do neighborhood rummage sales. And I didn't know what a rummage sale was. I really didn't. It's not what we call it in Georgia. It's a garage sale, maybe a yard sale, but it's not a rummage. And it took me a bit because I thought it was something bigger because a lot of the charities will have a rummage sale and they ask for your donations to their rummage sale, you know. And I'm like, okay, so it's kind of a more for, you know, charities. And then one of the big neighborhoods, we're having a rummage sale. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I want to go find out because I love garage sales. I
Yep.
I have a very poor man's attitude about going to a garage sale and picking something up for 5 cents. I'm looking for a drill right now.
Oh, there you
I
go.
Yeah, I got to get a drill and a drill press. I'm pushing hard for those. I don't need a drill press, but come on, I got a shop. I got use for it. I could put. You know, I'm building a rack for my new canoe, so come on. So I'm planning to go to a garage sale and pick up a drill because the ones at the Fleet Farm are like $100, I think, for the half inch, and I'm like, it's worth it. It's a good drill, but I bet I could get one just as good for 20.
Well,
Gotta
so
find it.
speaking of rummage sales or yard sale type of things, this is something that actually comes through my area here in Ohio. Have you ever heard of the 127 yard sale? So the 127 yard sale is the world's largest yard sale, and it takes place down US Route 127. It starts all the way up in Michigan and comes through Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. It's
How big
huge.
is it? I
It's
mean,
huge. It's if
it's
you
not
live on
127 yards, obviously.
no, it's
Like,
690 miles.
wow, ha, ha. What the crap?
Yeah, it's really wild. And
Yeah.
basically, you can only pull up a table along that area. So there are spots where towns will have, if they've got like a big open yard on there, they'll just have a massive, they just basically set up tents and people put up stuff. It's wild. And then, of course, parking and everything else. But yeah, it's the first Thursday to Sunday in August. So it's coming up here pretty soon,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. So if you're looking for something very fun and unique to do and you live anywhere in those areas, it's definitely worth checking out. It is really neat because there are so many things that people bring out for it, and
It's
it's so cool to
insane.
just
Yeah.
drive 127 and just see like all these places. You're just like, you need a spotter. You have to drive because you need to make sure you don't hit somebody either stopping
Yeah.
or
Someone else
coming
is
across the
rubbernecking.
street. Exactly, exactly. And you need a spotter or two to be all like, okay, what are we looking for?
Right.
Type of
God,
thing.
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty wild. I remember driving for the logistics company with the box truck and driving 127 to go do deliveries. It was always interesting because one half of you was like,
Yeah.
I'm headed to do a delivery. The other half was like, oh, that's really cool. I
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm
have a
looking
box
at it
truck. I can fill
like
it all up.
all the way down to Alabama from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm looking at it
Hmm.
like, I wonder if we could do that. We could just get on the road on the, what is the 6th? On the 6th, we start up in Michigan, we be there,
Yep.
and then head down to Georgia. I mean, I need to go to Georgia anyway. I don't need to, but I want to go to Georgia anyway and just see
There you
people.
go.
Um,
But yeah,
That'd
so
be a
it's
summer trip in my future.
there you go. But yeah, so that's coming up, and super random to even bring that up. But since we were talking about yard sales, I'm like, dude, this
Oh, well,
it's
we're always very focused here. So I can't believe you did that.
I know, right? My goodness. So yeah, so that's a fun thing that's coming up.
That looks really cool. I mean, it really does.
It's very unique. I mean, if you live in this area, you know about it, you look forward to it. But if you're not somebody, or if you're just somebody that likes to go find that, one man's junk is another man's treasure sort of motto, that this is
Yeah,
the place to come check it out for
that's
sure.
so
So,
cool. That is
yeah.
so cool.
But no, so we're trying to plan that yard sale and get that all together. And that's, I feel like it's such a daunting task, honestly, but we'll figure it out. The other thing that I'm working on is trying to get some things set up. We have a very good friend of ours who we call Grandpa John. And we befriended him when we were going to a different church, and he lives here in the neighborhood, and just a super nice guy. And he's an old Navy vet. And Corey was asking him, "What kind of things do you want to do?" He just turned 82, I think, or something like that. And I've never been to a NASCAR race before. And Corey lit up, and she was like, he's never been to an, I've never been to a NASCAR race before. I've been to Indy, but I've never been to a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
And she was like, do they still do the Brickyard in Indianapolis? And I'm like, I think so. Cause she was like, they don't do the one in Kentucky. I was like, no, they shut that place down. So I started looking around. So I'm trying to get some things worked out to where I can take him to the Brickyard 400 here in a couple of
Sweet.
weeks. So I'm trying to like, with it being that he's in his 80s, I'm like, all right, I want to find a place that's sort of shaded. We
Yeah.
don't need to be baking in the sun type of
Right.
thing. And
Yeah.
just all those different, little things to make it a good time. But yeah, so I'm trying to get that all put together because I just think it would be fun to be able to do that. And I've been to that racetrack, so I know it. So that makes it a little bit easier for getting around. But yeah, so working on that and then just kind of gearing up. I mean, we're 2 months 2 months out almost from the convention. Just or just
87 days,
87. Yeah, I know we're less than
87 days.
Nate. I know we're less than 3 months, so which is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's all
Um,
coming together.
so I'll be up in Chicago just before that, actually. So I'm gonna hopefully get a scope a few things out while
Hmm.
I'm up there. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
I'm thinking
stay
about
on.
going. My
You
wife's
know,
going back to Chicago for a pickleball thing. She had a clinic this month and Father's Day weekend. I'm still angry, but that's okay. But I will be bitter about that forever. Okay. I am
I
a
was gonna say
petty person. That is
that is
just
a
who I am.
great
I'm
card to
passive
hold.
aggressive. I'm really trying to be a better person, but it's not working on all fronts. Okay. It's just not. There are things about me that are asinine and they're going to stick. And I'm trying. I'm trying. But
Did you hear the last episode where you were going on about that?
no, I don't think so. I don't think
No?
she
Okay.
needs to. Okay. Because I will just, I mean, if I haven't made it clear to this point, I'm very blunt about stuff. You give me a crappy Christmas present, I'm going to go, well, that's a crappy Christmas present. Why would you give me that? Because I will blame autism. I will say, yes, I have autism, ADHD, whatever. But realistically, it's because I'm a tactless butthead sometimes. Sorry, I was going to say a bad word. No, there's kids listening. But yeah, but she's going back. I don't know if you knew that because I didn't. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool. That was really cool. Oh no, but I'm going back. I'm like,
I'm going
okay,
back.
cool.
Okay.
Cool. That's good to know. What I'm seriously considering doing is going down there because it's her and her friend that I don't want to say her name out, but a woman
Yeah.
in town, and they're
Yeah.
going to go play together. And then my brother's going to go, and he went the last time because it's very educational clinic from what they said, and he gets his own room. And I'm like, huh, well, I think I'll just stay with my brother. I'll just
There you
go
go.
down there and I'll walk around, like you said, check out Chicago and see. Yeah,
You can
actually,
go
I
do the
ate
Ferris
here.
wheel for free, by the way. You can go ride the Ferris wheel for free on the Navy Pier.
Really? Why is it
Yeah,
free? I mean, it's cool, but
because of what happened this past weekend at the 4th of July with the fog and
okay.
everything. They felt
Yeah.
bad. And so they decided to open up until I think Labor Day. You can ride the Ferris wheel for free. So I'm sure lines are going to be stupid long for it, but
Yeah.
it's a really cool Ferris wheel. And probably it'll be a clearer day than it would be that day that everything was going. You couldn't even
Hopefully.
see you couldn't even see the fireworks that went off out in the lake. It was that foggy. It was
That's
horrible.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, so definitely, yeah, you could go check out the Ferris wheel, and there's so much stuff. I keep finding things keep popping up on
Hmm.
Instagram and stuff to go do. I actually just posted there's a Chicago passport app, and I posted that actually in the HomeDadCon Discord for guys to
Is that
check out.
the one you put? I think it was an Instagram reel, even. She put
I
in
think it's an Instagram reel,
Home
yeah,
Dad Con.
basically.
Okay, so I just want to say that Home Dad Con server hasn't been used since Phoenix, and that's where you put it.
Oh,
So I
oh
went ahead and
no.
because that's the
Did you
one we
put it?
left up because we're getting pictures out of it. We're still getting images out of it because it takes forever.
Oh, see, I
And
thought
so
it
it
was.
showed up and I went, huh, what's that there for? And I looked at, oh wait, this is a different one completely. So I just want you to know
I
you should repost
I
it.
I
Just
repost it. Yeah.
put it
Okay.
in
I'll
in
repost it.
in the actual National at Home Dad Network Discord, Chicago, and do it there. But
I have too many different little Discord things, and I was like, oh, it's got the HomeDadCon logo and everything
oh,
on it. That's the one.
and I went in and I'm like, I should just change the logo. I should change it to something else to where, and I think I changed the name to HomeDadCon Archived or Archived HomeDadCon, so it'd be less likely. But I should
Uh,
change the image too, because honestly, it's going to take me 15 years before I get all the images out of there. It is.
there's so
I,
many.
you have,
Yeah.
right. And you have to sit there and go, okay, load this one. Okay, download this one. Okay, and there's no bot that we can put on that server to make it happen. You've got to go in almost one by one and do it. And
Mm.
I'm expecting AI to come up with a better bot for that. I'm expecting something to show up and go, actually, now you just push this button and it puts them all on your
It'll just grab all of the things that say
right.
that have an image or whatever and take them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but anyway, back to the app itself. I would like to know more about it because I didn't pull that link up because I was trying to figure out
Yeah, I didn't.
Discord.
So I downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to really look through it, but apparently it's got a lot of unique places to go check out in Chicago and lots of other different little sightseeing things. So there's maps on how to get to those places and stuff. And I was just like, oh, cool. It's one thing to go to Chicago and just be like, all right, I'm going to stay in this little section. But it's another thing to basically be like, oh, this is cool. For instance, one of the things they showed was they actually have a piece of the Berlin Wall that you can go check out. And I was like, oh, sweet. That would be really cool to see.
That is cool. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, I pulled it up while we are talking about it because that's what I do. That is
Yes.
amazing. 250 little dots on the map that you can go to. And
Yeah.
there's a
So
leaning tower.
I did not know that there was a leaning tower of Pisa in Chicago. I was like, how appropriate. That makes total sense. But yeah,
Right.
like
Well, of
I
course
didn't know
there
that
is,
was
right?
there. Or there's you can walk through, I think it's like has something to do with money. And then at the end, you get a bag of
A little
shredded
bag
money.
of shredded money. Yeah, I just saw that. That's
And so,
hilarious.
just I think everybody's always looking for something unique to do when they're in Chicago or anywhere really. And what better way than using what someone else has already spent the time to build
That's
and,
very
and be able to
cool.
get you there. So, yeah, so that's gonna be a definite tool that I get to use quite a bit while we're on
Right.
our.
Yeah, you definitely need to put that in the Discord
I'll
for
put it in
sure.
there definitely.
'Cause that's
So,
incredibly. And I have to say too, I may be wrong and this may be sexist or something I don't know, but I feel like dads just like feel this type of thing. Yes, I need an app that shows me all of the stuff that I could do and how I can plan my route and where I can go and what time to get to. Yeah, it's just perfect. I think it's
I
perfect.
so did you watch Full House back in the day? Were you a Full House fan?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean,
I was
it's
just
been a
thinking about
while.
this when you mentioned the whole dad and stuff. Danny Tanner was the epitome of a dad who grasped onto the whole we're going somewhere. I've researched all this. We have an agenda. This is what we're going to do. And I remember him having a clipboard with whole
Oh,
list of today we're going to do these
Chef's
things
kiss.
and whatnot. And I
Chef's
remember
kiss.
Uncle Jesse at one point literally grabbing the clipboard and be like, "This is ridiculous," and throwing it off of a cliff or something.
No,
So
Clippy.
I was like, "Yep, that sounds about right."
And I'm sure you recall looking for directions for somewhere and then printing out MapQuest,
Oh yeah, totally.
and having
Yes.
6 pages of paper over there. Now, I didn't have a clipboard. I should have had a clipboard, I guess. I just had them laying on the seat with something on them to keep them from blowing away. And just the jump in technology from there to here. And I
Oh yeah.
love being here so much more. But at that time, for him to have sat down and done that was hours of work. I mean, that was a commitment right
That's
there.
looking through magazines and
Yes.
travel
Yeah.
books.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not
There's no
that's not
internet really
internet
to
at
do. Just,
all.
well, I read this article in Chicago Today. Really? You got a subscription to, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you had to go to the
That's awesome.
library to pull up that that kind
Right.
of stuff.
Right. And you literally, I mean, that was a commitment. I love
Yeah,
it.
somebody
I
from 1945 wrote a book. Oh, we're gonna look through here. Nothing could have changed in the past
right.
40
Yeah. It's
years.
fine. It's fine. But
So yeah,
respect for Danny Tanner. Respect. Because seriously,
definitely.
that's a commitment right there.
So yeah, there's like I said, we got all these things going on coming up. Next week on the show, we have a guest coming on. Joe Saladino is back to talk beer share and photo walk. And those are his bread and butter, man. Like, and he's
Hmm.
so passionate about it. So it's always good
Yeah,
to touch
and
base with him and see where
has
things are gonna go.
accepted the title of official photographer for
That's
HomeDadCon,
right. Yes, he
which
is
I
the
think he should have
official.
had that years ago. But we were honestly, for me, I never wanted to ask Joe to take pictures. For me, hey, could you take a picture of this thing I'm doing? Or did you get a picture of me? Because he's made some amazing pictures. One of my best favorite pictures is by Joe. But
Yeah.
I want Joe to enjoy the convention. I don't want him to be working it, but he loves working it. And I mean, we should have done this years ago. I think we just didn't. I don't know why anybody else didn't, but I didn't want to ask anything like that because he's already doing so much for us. You know,
Well, and I think too there was
love
an
Joe. Joe would
expectation
love
just
you.
from former board to be just like, oh, he's just taking photos. We'll just ask him for him and completely negate the fact that he's a professional photographer taking photos for mainly himself, just
Yeah.
because that's what he likes to do and not thinking about, oh, we should probably pay him for his time
Yeah.
of doing
Could
these
we
if
do
we're going to
that?
use them. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that's finally happening for sure. So that's awesome. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
what's
But anyway,
going
so he'll
on.
be coming in and talk
Yeah.
about
So
the photo walk and the beer share, and that's always fun.
yeah, and the beer share is such a big part of scholarships, which scholarship window closed. We had 15 applicants this year. So that's really
And
exciting.
tell me to remind me, but tell our listeners as well. What's that as far as last year, and has it grown, and has that more?
Oh, now you're asking me questions I don't have in front of me.
Oh, I figured you'd be like, well, last year we only had 10 or 12, and now we have 15.
I think last year we had around 13 or something like that. So it's went up a little bit, but
All right.
I think the difference between this year and past years though is the fact that it's so drivable. There's not as much as far as you save that money on driving and you can afford to to pay the other stuff. So there's only a few of the closer guys that really needed any help with anything, which is why there are more guys that are able to, I think, come to it or whatever. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But yeah, 15 guys applied. We're going through all that and getting that put in place. Out of those 15, I think 6 or 7 of them are first time attendees. So that's exciting.
Awesome. Yep.
That number is down from previous years. I think last year we had probably our biggest first attendees group last year. I think there were like I want to say there were like 10 or 12. Like it was mostly first time attendees that had scholarships last year. So, which is awesome. So that's going to be exciting in itself. So we're getting all those things put in place. Me and Steven are going through everything, getting all that stuff put together, talking with just the rest of the committee. And yeah, I mean, it's nice that we have a very well-oiled machine the process for things is so much
It's
smoother than
getting
it was when I
better.
first
Getting
started it.
better.
Yeah, it is definitely.
You guys have done a ton of work over the years with
Well,
everything with
yeah,
this organization, really. I mean, I know we've all worked, everybody that works for the organization has worked really hard, but scholarship is so very important. And the beer share being able to bring in enough funds that we can actually help a dozen people. What the heck? That's
yeah,
amazing, you know?
yeah.
But I do want to
And
say, I
so
want
I'll
to point
have
it out. That was
yeah,
Stephen Wenzel,
yes.
who's the chair, I believe, for scholarships, co-chair, chair.
He's
Yeah, he's chair
he's the head chair. I'm
officially.
the co-chair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm saying Stephen Wenzel, future board member.
Yeah.
Want to
Well,
say
he's the numbers guy, and he's definitely done some amazing stuff with getting the spreadsheet, situated. And then I'm more of the communication guy, so I do all the coordinating. I'm the Danny Tanner of the situation. So
nice, nice. That is an official moniker, I think. Yeah, we should. Yeah, you should definitely. You earned that, sir. You earned that.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll show up. I'm going to show up with a clipboard with their names on it and call them out.
Yeah. All right. So no, but you have one at 5:47. You need to wait 3 minutes. I'm not ready for you.
Hold
What?
on, we just let one through. We need to give them a second to basically say hi to everybody. Okay, and they should be done, and you can go now.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
That would be funny,
Do
actually.
it, Tanner. Do it. So
Oh man. Anyway, before we get into too much of a rabbit trail with everything, yeah. So that's pretty much everything for this show. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I hope things work out with getting things ready to start for school, and enjoy the rest of your summer. We will be back next week to talk HomeDadCon, beer share, and photo walk with our good friend Joe Saladino. So y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.